people into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
on the point of order.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
on the point of order.
Honorable
On the point of
they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
good to know you're still with us. We have really interesting stories today on our table and we'll take a look at them. We have the very first one from Lagos State. Lagos State government has reiterated that it will demolish buildings without approvals after the expiration of the 90-day amnesty window. This was disclosed by the Director of Public Affairs Unit, Lagos State Building Control Agency, Mr. Olaoye Olusegun, on Wednesday in Lagos. Olusegun said the special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on EGIS and Urban Development, Dr. Olajide Babatunde, made this known during a workshop organized by the agency in Ikeja on Tuesday. He stressed that every building in the state should have a certificate of completion and fitness for habitation, as well as an insurance policy that can provide support during emergencies like fire incidents. Now, taking a look at the demolition in Lagos State, I remember there were so many videos up there on the internet, Divine, talking about people, residents of those buildings that were demolished, screaming, we were given just 2 hours to move out.
Yes.
And this is really not nice. 2 hours, look at our properties outside. Videos showed all of that. Even the other residents, crying out. And then the government came out to say, we have given them this notice for how many years now? Since 2020, I think. Yes, they said they had given them notices 2020. So what happened at the end of the day that they didn't move and all of that? And now we have this story.
Making the headlines. It's quite unfortunate. It's very sad that people who were issued warnings concerning the move and the demolition still did not move. And I do not agree with them not following due process. It's very important that due process should be followed, and when due process is not followed, these are the things that happen. Demolitions will occur, short notices, since the notice given earlier was not taken for granted. These are the things that happen when you do not follow due process, and they should deal with it.
The last time we had this conversation, was it 2 days ago?
Yes.
When the report was out there about this particular story I explained, when the people were crying out and all that. I remember asking our guests if it was possible for people to build without approval.
Approval, yes. I remember that conversation. Again, I do not think it's possible for people to build without approval, since they were even issued a notice. So if it were not approved and a notice
of the government. But that's only if that is the case. Now, if there's a case of people building without permission, I asked our guest that day, I was coming there, where we asked them, is it possible for people to build without permission? And they said it wasn't possible for people to build without permission. That's when we get to look at it. If it's a thing of more awareness being created, because why are people building without
permission? Is it possible, since our guests say that it's not possible, and the right channels to go through to get permission, proper permission for building and constructing whatever they want to.
And the 90 days window that they have been given, the 90 days amnesty window that they have been given, I hope they actually vacate the buildings, because let's see how that will play out at the end of the day, so we don't have cases of people saying we were given 2 hours to move out. Yes.
All right, now let's move on to the next story. Okay, we'll go on a short break, and when we're back, the conversation on ATN Blowout will continue.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
people into the country illegally. That is amazing. You human trafficker.
Honorable
You are a human
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Every day, our lives are changed by history,
We are one people, all of us.
leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Atlantic Blowout. Welcome back. Joining the conversation today is a Guinness World Record marathon racer who raced from Lagos to Port Harcourt. He's no other than Winnie of Port Harcourt. Winnie of Port Harcourt. Good morning. I'm very excited that you're here to join this. The Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 general elections, when the National Security Advisor became a revenue collecting center. Now, the question is, how would you categorize the policy reforms of this administration? We've had a lot of policies on ground from nearly every sector. So how would you categorize all of these reforms happening in the country at the moment?
All right, thank you very much. Well, I may say these policies by the federal government is aimed at causing more hardship to the I can't be unemployed and you're taxing me. The federal government should create jobs and the tax rates will also be very high if there is employment. But there's hardship and you're taxing the people. It's not really something that we go well with every citizen, even me.
Now, the Act 44 says that these policies, this particular, in order to stay afloat, do you agree with them putting it? Because it is now a case of the businesses putting these taxes, which they are asked to pay. Should it be the case?
Okay, there is no policy that will not affect the people. Actually. So, if we are seeing the impact of these taxes, me personally, I'll pay twice.
Wow.
Yeah. But then if you enforce tax on this product, and we're not even getting the value for it, it's annoying actually. It's annoying. If you say, okay, fine, I want to increase tax on this particular services or product, let's see the impact. Nigerians are peaceful people. If you provide us with those charges, we'll be so they should make that environment conducive for everybody.
So you feel it's not a problem of, that's talking about the hike now in electricity, even though that's not our focus. You feel Nigerians is about the fact that they want us to do more transactions online and less transactions with cash, and that was why remember that period when you had to take out the old notes and then introduce new notes, and yet they said they will not put in so much notes into circulation because the aim is to push for cashless policy. They also stated that the transfers, the electronic transfers, since that's what they're encouraging, will also help with security, to prevent kidnapping, to prevent, remember that story, right? Now we have the people have moved, a lot of people have moved to e-transactions. A lot of people no longer have cash. I don't move around with cash. I only make transfer, I only make withdrawals when I need that money. And once I'm done with that money, that is it. So now, you said we should use e-transfers.
Okay. Now, 0.5 increase. It's 0.5 increase. 0.5 taxation on every transaction. Into what the Nigerians, what do you feel? What do you think about this in 2 weeks?
Well, my concern is not even about the policy, but the masses. Nigerians will always move on.
Wow.
We will always adapt, we will always adjust. That is the problem of we the masses. Even if this policy doesn't go down well with us, we'll be like, okay, well, no problem.
There's nothing we can do.
And these people will always put things that because they know that we will not do anything about it.
Should it be so?
No.
So what should we do about it?
What can the masses do about this?
We have those that are representing us, even the Senate. The masses, they are closer to their councillors, LG chairman and all. It's not everything you shout to Abuja, because even most times, sorry to say, but the presidency are not even aware of our plight most times because of those around them. So the masses should be able to talk to those representing them that feel their pain physically, so that they will take the from that till next month. It won't change anything.
Well, you feel protests will not do anything?
It will never do anything.
So we have to just wait for our representatives to speak up for us?
Yeah, exactly. Because
do you think our representatives speaking up for us will still make any difference?
that's why they're there. If we don't let them know that this is where we're getting it wrong, they'll feel what they're doing is right. So, because I saw an hashtag on Twitter yesterday, protest this. To me, that's in Nigeria, it won't even work.
Protest on what exactly?
On this this thing, this 0.5 this thing now.
Okay, percent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going through this yesterday, a thread. It's not solved any problem. We've tried it before in Lagos. Even when the other past administration did the fuel subsidy removal or something, it didn't change anything. So there are steps to follow. I just pray the citizens wake up on time to start holding their representative accountable for all of this. It's not every time, okay, God will help. Prayers will not solve anything in Nigeria. God has blessed us. It's left for us to use our head to follow these policies.
But this security that the government is trying to improve is for our own good. It is to help us secure our own accounts, to help security, you understand, the way they have explained it to us. So whatever the government brings about, the citizens do not really pay attention to the details of what the government is saying, but they just feel like the government is against them. Is that what the case is? Because looking at it, it's for our own good, don't you think?
To an extent, I don't blame the citizens.
Okay.
Because we've experienced a whole lot of this over time. So even when the government means good for us, like there was this thing that a reform that the federal government brought, and I benefited from that. This 50,000 naira grant or something. I made this thing on my Facebook. It's still there. 80% of people were like, nah, scam, it's not real, it's not real. I was like, this is the money I received from the federal government.
What year was that?
This last month.
Last month?
Yeah, I received 50,000. My family members received.
Oh, wow.
You get, but when you don't really make all these things clear to them, they'll be like, it's a lie, or people are benefiting from the good side of the policies and all. But they should try to make it, even to the layman on the streets, this is what we want to do, this is how it should go. Because most people misinterpret these policies.
So you actually feel like this, that means you agree that the policy is for our own good and it's being misinterpreted?
To an extent, it's to our own good, but then I'm still against it somehow.
How?
Now listen, you're increasing this on this, but you have not really eased the pressure on, we're already facing pressure, and you're still trying to add another one. Sort this one out, then put this one, we won't complain. They said they've reduced, sorry for digressing, they've reduced the price of rice. Yesterday, I went to buy rice. The man was like, okay, this is
what
the news.
The news is saying.
He said, that one is not his business, that everywhere is hard. And all these men on the streets, they don't even understand the news. So the government needs to at least break all these things down to us. Like me, I try in my own little way to explain to my followers on Facebook and Twitter, this is. Anyone that doesn't sit well with me, I will speak it out.
Now, talking about the government for this, do you think they're doing enough?
Yes, to an extent, but you can't really do enough of it. Because there are places you go now and say, this is government something, they won't even pay attention to it. Because of the past experience, I've organized youth for us to have free skill acquisition after my marathon. They did turn up. They were like, after this, what next? I said, attend first. Like 1 week free skill acquisition. I spent millions on it, our state.
What was their reason?
They said, after the skill acquisition, what next? No funds to even start up and all. I said, first of all, get this, because even I had to link up the few that attended to this federal government's thing, and they got the money from the federal government. So most times, the people just lose faith in the government because of the past experience.
Okay, on to the next story.
Okay, let's look at the next story. The Deputy Chief Whip says State Police imperative. Deputy Chief Whip of the 10th Nigerian Senate and Senator representing Ebonyi North Central District, Peter Onyekachi, has mustered support for the proposed state police. Onyekachi, who is also a member of the State's Constitution Review Committee, gave the hint shortly after plenary at the National Assembly Complex, Abuja. The astute lawmaker and senior lawyer said the state police has become imperative in order to mitigate the security challenges across the country, which seems to have overwhelmed the federal police. The Nigerian representative at ECOWAS Parliament also charged Nigerians to keep faith with the President Tinubu-led administration, insisting that the dividends of his audacious economic policies will soon be harvested by all the citizens, stressing that the ongoing constitutional amendment will address all the loopholes in governance, adding that the amendment is timely because the Constitution was a military creation. However, in response, the organized labor faulted the governor's statement and warned them against making inflammatory utterances that could cause industrial chaos over the new national minimum wage. How will state policing affect security system in Nigeria? People have been clamoring for this for some time now, and now it has been stated clearly that in order for us to solve the problem to a very large extent, the problem of security in Nigeria, then we should take a look at state policing. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I come from a place in this river state where we had crisis before they introduced this OSPAC. I don't know if you've heard of it. Now, OSPAC are the community boys, trained, like they're the local vigilantes. Now, these people knows the nooks and crannies of the community. They know them by their house name and their homes. So let's bring this now to the community policing. If they introduce this, or maybe if they bring this reform, it will actually curb insecurity directly, because you are dealing with your own people.
Okay, now you clearly stated that the vigilante groups are doing quite a great job. Is there still a need for state policing, knowing that there are already vigilante groups who handle community policing in some essence, in some sense?
Okay, there is need for that, because these vigilantes, they are not really getting the funding or the support from the government. In my place, we contribute money for their feeding most times, transportation, fuel their vehicles and all of that. And to an extent, there are things we cannot handle, and the government had to step in. But hence, they are not getting the funding, then the government should bring their own. And even, we can have even the vigilantes and the state police.
Now, speaking about funding, do you not think that the government, instead of creating a state police, do you not think that should fund the vigilante groups? If you say that these vigilante groups are not funded by the government, should they not be empowered, since they already know the nooks and the cranny, in your own word, of these communities? Shouldn't they be empowered to continue the good work which they do, according to you?
Well, I would advise they fund them and also train them and equip them, because most of these groups are not properly trained. Everything is not funding. If you fund them with that training, they may not even function very well to an extent. So, but if they introduce the state policing, which means they are coming with standard, because they'll be trained. You get, but these local vigilantes, they're more of the hunters and all the rest, and they may not know how to handle civil.
So are you saying that hunters and all the rest, in your own words, are not intelligent enough to receive trainings, or may not be good enough, even though they have proven, in your own words, to have made progress in community security?
Okay, there's nobody that is too dumb to learn. But hence, the absence of the training, they just operate in their own technical know-how. And to an extent, they function to their own ability. So, if they can train them and equip them and fund them, I don't really see any need for the community police. But I'm coming.
Talking about supporting the state police now, we've had so many cases of state government owing their workers. So many cases, pensioners, people who are still working, civil servants and all that. Do you see that problem occurring if we decide to adopt the state policing?
Okay, if you owe the security agencies, the effect we are
exactly looking at the implications of that.
It will be there. So I still keep hammering on this point. There should be policies on ground that should be checked from time to time. We're having security challenges. What are the measures put in place to make sure we curb it? Now, you want to bring community police. What is the assurance that these people will not be owed, or they will be funded, or maybe equipped at all times? We've had cases where someone calls the police and they were like, we don't have food in our car, in our vehicle. We can't mobilize this, send money for transportation, send money for food. Because it's not there. Most times, these people are not even lying to us. But if you provide, like, I stayed in Lagos before now, and there is this thing, last month, they are traffic, this thing. Last month, they are proactive, because the state government fund them to the, they fund them to the brim. You can't have an emergency and, you don't get a response in the next 10 to 20 minutes, because they're everywhere. They have the ability, both their vehicles are, everything is up to date. So if we can apply this, to me, it's very possible. I believe in long process. But if it's state policing, you can easily just walk down to the headquarters here or something to lay their complaint or something, and you'll be closer to the people and also closer to the government. We've had a series of cases like the 2011 election, where the people at Abuja sent police to Rivers State. I don't know if you've had that in this before. And
there are policies that are supposed to stand as checks and balances in all of the systems that we have.
What are they doing so
agencies
far
in Nigeria, even with federal policing?
What are they doing so far?
So what is the guarantee that it will be different with state policing?
Then if they can't put all these things in place, I don't really see any fault, because they'll still abuse it. Someone will donate car to the police, and 2 months, the car looking like a car of 1984 because of lack of maintenance. We've seen where government agencies are looking so tattered but the money is there. They have already assigned people to take care of all of this. But they just abandon because it's government property.
Now, don't you, seeing what you have listening to what you have just said, would you not say that some states have a better maintenance policy than the others?
Yes, actually. I always cite Lagos State and Rivers State as example. Lagos State is being run as though it's a private business. They invest more in maintenance, even their roads, their public transport, just like their BRT system and the Blu-ray, their train system. Everything is looking so standard. To me, maybe because they give out this contract to private companies to handle, they privatize some agencies like their waste management and their road traffic and all of that. Because it's not everything. We have this mentality that as it's a government project or program, we can just misbehave because there's somebody who will be accountable to. And they will always have their way to coincide on such policies. So some states has more maintenance culture than the other. Why some
mountains through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human trafficker.
Honorable
You are a human.
They are not picking our calls. They made up their mind.
So no agreement with the EU, but
disagreement between organized labor and some governors on the national minimum wage. The Nigeria Employers Consultative Association has called on both parties to sheath their swords and wait for the tripartite committee on the national minimum wage to finalize its assignment. NECA Director General Adewale Smart Oyerinde, who disclosed this, said the ongoing worrisome pattern of accusation and counter-accusation between governors and organized labor on the issue of the national minimum wage is instructive to note that the tripartite committee that was constituted to negotiate the national minimum wage is yet to finalize its assignment, and negotiating on the pages of newspapers could be counterproductive for all stakeholders. This is coming after the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and the Governor Abdul Razak of Kwara State at the end of NGF's virtual meeting, where members of the committee were reviewing the individual fiscal space as state governments and the consequential impact of various recommendations to arrive at an improved minimum wage to pay sustainably. However, in response, the organized labor faulted the governor's statement and warned them against making inflammatory.
As of yesterday, 1,420 or so. And then these things are actually telling on the citizens. Even with this hike in prices and all of that, the minimum wage is, it just having no effect on it, on us. But then it's a welcome development. But we also need to tackle the other stuff.
Like what?
Like
what
what?
exactly are you referring to?
Inflation. Inflation is actually it's like the pressing issue right now we are facing the country.
But is the minimum wage not supposed to help in any way?
I don't really think it will help right now. See,
Why?
we should tackle the see, you can't cut off a branch of a tree in order to kill the tree. You uproot it first, and the branches will just die off. So they are root cause of this problem. If those
What do you think about this disagreement? Is there a way they can come to terms?
and find a way to negotiate that, it can always be sorted out. That's just it.
All right, so they should talk about it like it was recommended here.
Yeah.
Dialogue, everybody drop your swords. The Labour have been saying implement the new minimum wage, pay us what you have promised that you would pay us, you know.
So what is still keeping them from paying the minimum wage? Because every now and then, Labour will always want to come out to say this and that. What is actually keeping those things from being implemented? You can't just bring to the news and say you want to do so, and it's 2 months, 3 months, a year, it's just there.
They're also talking about being included in the policies that are made that concerns them. So they're saying, at least take one of us and put us in the board so that when these decisions are made concerning us, we can also lend our voices. What do you think about that too?
Well, I don't see anything bad in that. But then the government always have their own reasons for not including them. Which, it will make life easier. All these are not rocket science. You've said you do this, implement it. So that we also will see for ourselves, okay, this thing is working. You can't just say, okay, this thing, want to do it, and we're not seeing it. So I advise, or I urge the other governors to also come out and implement this new minimum wage.
All right, let's also hope that we'll have more governors making that statement too, and then the people to also saying that they have received that.
Yes, indeed. We hope that that will be the case. If the people come out to say that they have gotten this, I think the lives they will be greatly improved. The hardship will be greatly dropped. What do you think?
Actually, that's true. I made mention of the federal government grants. When I posted on my Facebook that check your account to money has started dropping. So we're like, it's a lie. But when I showed them the evidence, so we're like, I was not aware. Now, it's no longer the government's fault. It's now the citizens' fault for not signing up to it. Why some that also received came under my comment sections to be like, okay, I received. So the thing had to calm pressure because they said this and they implemented it. If you promise us something and you do it, people always come out to say, I benefited in this.
Now, why this apathy? Because it seems like people are no longer interested in the promises of the government anymore. They no longer believe in the implementation process. Why do you think this is the case? And how can the citizens be encouraged to believe the government more?
Okay, this is where the National Orientation Agency comes in. We need them more right now because people are already giving up on the government. A case study is the last election. Some were even like, okay, this is the last time I'll vote, even if it will not count. But we also just go and vote. It will surely count. But they'll just be like, if I vote, if I don't vote, they will still put. No, it's not like that. Let the National Orientation Agency come in fully to the grassroots level. Enlighten these people. Educate them on the oil because we've experienced where the oil prices go up, come down, and it affects our effects. If we should focus on agriculture, especially because where I'm from, only my community can feed the whole of River State because we have the land, but most times no manpower.
Now, talking about agriculture, before the discovery of oil, crude oil in Nigeria, agriculture was the major source of revenue for the country. How can agriculture right now generate more revenue just like oil does for the country? How can...
Which I've seen so many programs by the government, actually, where they help farmers, they give them fertilizers and tractors and all of this, even help them to export. But then more investment is needed. We have the land, we have the good weather condition, and we don't have the money to invest in it.
But you complained about not having the manpower, enough manpower in this sector.
That's where the machine comes in. Because I can't be in the farm tilling the ground every day. It will affect my health.
But even if we have the machines, we're going to have people who operate these machines, right?
Yes.
So before we even move to training them on operating the machines and all that, do we have enough people who are involved in agriculture, or do we need more hands?
We need more hands in every sector. But in the agricultural sector now, most youths don't want to invest in agriculture because they feel it's hard work and maybe they will have to let it there. But then if the government can also organize programs to enhance this sector, like organize maybe a youth programs to encourage the youth to, we have the population, but most persons are shying away from the agri sector.
Why do you say so? Why do you think that youths are not interested in agriculture? Because from recent survey, we've had lots of who have gotten themselves involved in fish farming, especially, and that is it's here in the south, and that is quite for me an interest in agriculture. So, do you not think that more youths are interested at this point in agriculture than before?
Okay.
Looking at the recent increase in fish farming by them.
Okay. Personally, I own a farm. I own a cassava farm.
Okay.
Over 100 plots in these rivers. And right now, I'm enjoying it.
Wow.
Likewise, other youths that are investing in it. So, the more we see the impact or the result of it, because I actually took a loan to invest in it. But all of that. So, this is where the government comes in. People are always willing to do something if they see the results.
Okay. So let me come in there now. We've had various cases of, you've even mentioned in your explanation, of the government giving out loans, grants to farmers, and then at the end of the day, these monies get to who we call the portfolio farmers, the people who are farmers on paper, but not in reality. So a lot of times we've had reports of those monies not getting to the right people. Now, some youths will receive this money, and that's supposed to help them get interested in agriculture, right? That's supposed to encourage the money at the end of the day. Something else. Imagine the grants you talked about. Is the interest equivalent to the effort of the government?
Even only applicable in the agriculture sector. It's everywhere, even in education and the oil and gas. But we are focusing on agriculture now, and I still maintain my point. There are agencies that are there to checkmate all of this and fish out those people that are withholding these funds from getting to the right. The governor's duty or the president or something. There are people in charge of this. Even most times,